welcome to Sarah's Stamping Retreat. Today we're going to be inking up our embossing folder to create an inky embossing effect for our cards. And to do that I'm going to be using the gorgeous embossing folder of the month from Spellbinders. And I wanted to show you this technique, and I'm also going to enter this card into the Craft and Connect monthly challenge. So we're going to be using their card sketch, which I'll put on screen now. And I'm also going to be using the die of the month from Spellbinders. I just couldn't resist going back and using these again because they're just such gorgeous projects. So for our inky embossing folder technique, I'm going to open up my embossing folder. I'm using a dark green ink, so I'm going to be using this Mossy Meadow from Stampin' Up. And I've got a 3.5 by 4 3/4 inch piece of this green cardstock, and that's the panel we're going to use on our card. So I've got my brayer. I find this technique so much easier with a brayer. So I'm going to ink up my brayer with this green ink. I've seen a lot of people do this by placing the ink pad directly on here. I find it easier with a brayer, but try them both out and see which works best for you. And then I'm going to ink that up so you can see it's sticking to those raised parts. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to emboss this as usual. So I'm going to pop it through my die cutting machine. So then I can open this up, and you can see that adding that ink really gives dimension to that background, so you can see much better all the leaves and things that pop up. So then I've cut all the pieces for my parrot. I'm just going to use the parrot from the small die of the month for this. And this month's club kits have been some of my favourites from this year. I just love this kind of like wild tropical theme. And these little birds are just so cute. And I'm just kind of speeding through putting this parrot together just so that you can see how it's done, because sometimes when you get the dies it can be a bit overwhelming to see where everything is. It's super easy when you know where everything goes. So these little bits that are just in the parrot's belly, they do come out, and if you saw the video that I did with this parrot earlier in the month, you'll have seen that for that one I pressed them all out and put a different colour of cardstock behind there so that it was different colour on his belly, but this time I've left them in, and so it's just going to be the red. And actually, although there's a lot of pieces to this parrot, it doesn't take that long to layer up. It's quite simple. And then how cute does that look now? So then I'm just going to use this little happy birthday. It's from a really old Altenew set. And I'm going to heat emboss that onto some of this navy cardstock. And then I'm going to heat emboss that with my Wow Polished Gold Superfine embossing powder. So then I can layer up my card, and so I'm going to add our Inky Emboss panel onto a gold panel that's 1/4 inch bigger than it. And then I'll pop that onto our card front. So I've got a 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch navy card front. Then I've got a 3 inch circle in gold and a 2 3/4 inch circle in the navy cardstock. I'm going to glue those together. So then I'm going to add this circle onto my card, and then I'm going to cut some flag ends into the end of here, and then I'm going to pop my little parrot and the sentiment up on foam pads. I'm going to make sure when I do this that one of the foam pads goes over those pieces that are left in the belly so that they don't fall out. And then there's that card finished. I think it's really cute, and you can see that just inking up that embossing folder really adds some dimension to our background. So I really hope that you enjoyed creating this fun card with me today and that you'll have a go at this inky embossing technique. If you enjoyed today's card, I'd really appreciate you clicking like below. You can also press subscribe if you'd like to see future videos. If you press the bell button and select all, then YouTube will also notify you when I've got a new video available. All of the products that I've used for today's card are listed in the description below, and there's also a link there to my blog where you can find a picture supply list if that helps you find what you're looking for. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you again soon.